Thank you very much, Secretary Pritzker, and to all of you, to you, Willie May, for your also wonderful direction. First of all, just really, Secretary Pritzker, it means so much to us and the people who work at NIST that you yourself came to this ribbon cutting. It shows the importance that this has, not only in the Department of Commerce, but also to the President of the United States. Today, the President is releasing his budget. It's his last budget as the President. Usually a Cabinet Secretary is working the phones, but today she's going to be right here working the rope line. I think that shows what a big priority you place on this and the role that this center will play in terms of the development. When Willie called her the Secretary of State, in a way, she has kind of been, because she has been President Obama's personal ambassador to American business, his personal ambassador to reach out to big businesses, big or small, traditional manufacturing, or high-tech and tech we only see on the verge of being born. And I think she's been one hell of an ambassador. And if you want to be Secretary of State, give me a call. I might put in a good word. And so on. But really, your dynamic leadership has brought energy, know-how, business savvy, and vision to the Department of Commerce. I'm also pleased to be here with the leadership of NIST, members of my own congressional delegation, certainly the Lieutenant Governor representing Governor Hogan. And didn't he do a good job, a great job, during Governor Hogan's most recent challenge? We ought to do a special little expression of gratitude here. With academia, the Chancellor of the University of Maryland, such an important partner of the intellectual rigor that is represented in this institution, and businesses big and small. Each one of us from the congressional delegation played a role. I am a member of the Appropriations Committee, depending on the party in power, whether I've been the chair or the vice chair. Quite frankly, I like being chair better, but I'll take what I can get. But I also chair the subcommittee on the Commerce Department. And if you've been the senator from Maryland on the Appropriations Committee, commerce is really important here. It is the National Institutes of Standards, thousands of people who work here every day. It is NOAA over there helping us with our atmosphere and our weather satellites at Suitland, Maryland. And Secretary Pritzker and I worked hands-on to modernize our weather service. We were, after Hurricane Sandy, made a big investment in making sure that the weather service on the campus of M3 at the University of Maryland received a supercomputer. So we don't have to screw around anymore waiting for that European model. We've got our own American model. It's right here on the Outer Banks of College Park, and you're going to know what the commute time's going to be like, and Ike, my very good friend, is going to know what he needs to deploy and when to deploy it. So we're very proud of the many agencies here. And by the way, a special shout out for Ike Leggett, who I have so enjoyed working with these many years. What a great leader, whether it was in the county council, always worrying about this county today and worrying about this county tomorrow. So today is a good news day, and I'm very proud once again to be here on a campus related to the National Institutes of Standards. I love NIST. I'm just crazy about NIST, and so should America, because it is here at the National Institutes of Standards, right here in Gaithersburg, that we invent the standards for American business to build products that they can sell not only in the United States, but that they can sell around the world. We invent the standards, and we always have to make sure that in the world of global commerce, we have American standards for business, not Chinese standards for business, and we need to make the public investments to make sure that happens. And look what they do here. I am so proud of the fact that right up there at Gaithersburg, that they've worked on fire and earthquake resilient buildings. that I've met with them when they were working with icons from the automobile industry, icons from Detroit, and icons from Tennessee, who were working together collaboratively with the Genius Club here at NIST on new kinds of automotive materials to make it lighter for energy consumption, but safer for the consumer. The standard for collaboration was going to be on the new kind of materials to build automobiles, and then the private sector competes on its individual models. Wow. And then a special thing for me is when I worked with Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson to pass the Mammogram Standard Quality Act. You know, many years ago, if a lady went for a mammogram, there were no standards. In some parts of the country, they used x-ray equipment. They used sonogram equipment. Anybody could make mammogram equipment, but they didn't have to be uniform. So our great doctors didn't know what they were getting. Kay and I passed the law, but it was here at NIST that they invented the standards. So whether now, if you are a woman in Duluth or you are a woman in Dubai, if you buy American manufactured mammogram equipment, you know it meets the national standards for FDA and the National Institute. The world's better and safer because of NIST, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the men and women who work here. They've won MacArthur Genius Awards. They've won Nobel Prizes. They even won an Emmy for co-inventing closed captioning. Isn't this a cool place to be? So we are really proud of them, but I'm proud of the employees because in addition to setting standards for products, they set the standards for excellence. To all of you here at NIST, just know I think about you. And I think about how you set the standards for intellectual rigor, for competence in the technical work that you do, for dedication, for holding your breath and staying close to it when we face sequester. You have set the standard for what of excellence, for what federal employees should be, what civil servants mean, and though you won Nobel Prizes, you sure in heck are helping us win the markets. So we need to be proud of them. But you know, as we worked on so many fields here, we needed to look ahead at the new fields for which America was facing challenges and for which America wanted to invent new products. That took us to the field of cybersecurity. I was here a couple of years ago with Governor O'Malley when we had an announcement about how Maryland was the epicenter of cybersecurity. We have the mothership like the National Security Agency. We have new frontiers of knowledge like the intelligence ARPA that again is on the grounds of the University of Maryland M3. And we also knew that right here at NIST that they were developing standards for new cybersecurity products that we could sell in our own country and safely, meeting our standards for national security, sell around the world. But what we also knew is that though we were the epicenter, where could the private sector go if they had a problem? If they had a problem with cybersecurity, or they had a problem wanting to make products in the cybersecurity world, they needed a civilian agency to work with. They couldn't dial up the National Security Agency and say, hey, you got any ideas? Whoa. And no matter what Snowden says, you really couldn't do that. And they didn't know that you were doing it either. So, but in reality, they needed a civilian portal. And this is where, working again with Marilyn Debed, first under Governor O'Malley's initiative, but carried forth in the Hogan administration under the governor himself in his economic development, Mike Gill. Again, not about party, but about people and jobs. We have continued working with this, and Ike Leggett made sure we had the right space, we had the right help from the state government, and then with our work in the delegation, Team Maryland, we came up with the right money. That's what we've been working on, so that the private sector had a civilian agency. And if they wanted to know how to fix a cyber problem, whether you were worried about the New York power grid, Ted Koppel was sending us an alert about the threats to the power grid. He can write the books, but it's here at NIST that we write the standards to protect the power grid. This is what it's all about. And for financial services, whether you are big banks dealing in the global world or you're a small savings and loan, you want to know how you're able to protect yourself. And it goes on and on. There is no part of our economy that does not face cyber threats, whether it's the government that's been hacked, the private sector, big or small. We've got to be able to protect ourselves. But while we're coming up with the solutions to protect ourselves, we also need to invent the products that protect ourselves, to prevent bad things from happening. We want jobs, 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 and this is where cybersecurity again comes in. Not only to be scared to death about it, but to see it as an opportunity for, again, working with American standards, we develop the products to protect ourselves, whether it's .gov, whether it's .mil, or whether it's .com. That's why, with my job on the subcommittee on commerce, I wanted to make what I considered was a significant investment here with an agency that knows what to do, how to do it, and how to work with the private sector, because they've been doing it for close to 100 years to do it right here at NIST, so that the private sector would have a civilian agency, government would play a role in providing the standards and technical assistance, and at the end of the day, we would be a safer country, a stronger economy. We would be better off, and the world would be better off. So working again with Secretary Pritzker, President Obama, we were able to do this. I could go through the dollars and so on, but I want you to know I put on my green eye shade, looked at all of that and said, well, we can move a little of this around and we can move a little of that around. And pretty soon we began to move this project and really get it done. So as I wrap up here, I just want you to know I was very pleased to play a role, but I'm very pleased to have the delegation that I have. Senator Cardin's wise counsel, particularly of all of these issues impacting small to medium-sized business, especially also minority business, was just invaluable, as well as this counsel from Foreign Relations when the numerous threats we were facing. And John and the two Johns up here, John Sarbanes and John Delaney, really were just fabulous, using their committees and their clout to be able to move this appropriations through. So we worked here, but we couldn't have done it without the executive branch and President Obama and the secretary, without the governor and his help, without Ike Leggett. We're here at Mike Hanna's, Councilman Hanna's, a building named after him. I knew Mr. Hanna. He was a Republican. So what? You know, we got to get over this. We got to get over this. We got to start thinking about not who's what and putting labels on people. The label I want to see is on American products that says made on USA. You can count on it because it meets the American standards invented right here in Gaithersburg. God bless you and God bless America.